anyways, while you guys were talking, I actually went to his channel.
Yeah, find the word concave in there.
Yeah, I didn't see the word. I didn't see any shape. I didn't see concave. I didn't see flat. I didn't see convex. So that being said, I went here. I went to the videos. I didn't look. I mean, just while you guys were talking, I just flipped through, just looked at the titles. I didn't have time to watch all this stuff, obviously, while you guys were talking. But I didn't see. I didn't see a whole lot one way or the other. So that being said, this is really, I think I've looked at this channel maybe once or twice, maybe like I've probably seen one or two of these videos, just happen to pass by and click on a video. Oh, that looks interesting. Something like that. But I really don't know this guy, and I don't know, what you're, I'm sure I can figure out what happened, but I don't know exactly what happened between you two particularly, but anyway. All right. So this is the watch page all right, here we go. So, right. Okay.
There are, just for the fun, there are videos in my YouTube troll channels playlist about JayDreamerZ with his name in the title. So you can just go check for how long, like, people are just hiding concave and not mentioning it. It's supposed to be a truther. Concave's the truth. He's just a troll. Right, carry on, bro.
All right. So I made a couple of Facebook posts that recently, and I think they were really good. So I just want to read this. The point of convergence or vanishing point determines the horizon when viewed from the Earth's surface. I've made multiple observations from multiple locations, freshwater and saltwater, showing that vanishing point of convergence to always be above center frame with a P900 level on both horizontal axes, indicated by that green dot right there. If both aren't there, it'll be yellow. And if it's not horizontal on that left to right axis, this green line will be yellow. You'll see that soon. The P900 Earth community, quote unquote, should reciprocate with P900 footage showing green dots so we can determine if all P900s do this or just mine. It's not hard. If you already use your P900, then just do it, film it, upload it, show me, please and thank you. All right, so the point is, because some people are saying, oh, well, that's just the leveling device in the P900 is wrong. So I'm saying, okay, well, let's compare with other P900s. And I'm the only one doing this. I'm going to the beach, and what I'm doing is I'm showing that when you level a P900 on both, with three-dimensional world, there's an axis this way, there's an axis this way, and then there's an axis this way. Okay, on both horizontal axes, this camera is level, according to Nikon. Okay, so flat earthers make this claim. Oh, the Earth is flat because that's just your vanishing point. Okay, well, the vanishing point perspective is true regardless what the shape is. So just understanding that the vanishing point is your perspective and your point of convergence doesn't prove any shape. I'm making the point that no flat earther is doing this. Okay, what I show right here is that
indicating the camera's not level. I've got to lower the.
So when you tilt the camera up
on the other axis, you can tell
it shows a little these lines here showing that you're angled up.
It tells you you're off center, and if I go the other direction, it's going to tell me how far I am off center. You see those yellow lines there. So Nikon has an auto leveler in. There we go. Turn that back on. Nikon has an auto leveler in here so that you can find level, and there you have it. Horizons above center frame, which is inconsistent with a convex Earth.
Okay, so it's also inconsistent with a flat Earth. Okay, so this is something to think about that flat earthers don't do. Flat earthers don't do this. They never show you a level P900 in their footage. Never. This is a P900. This isn't a 1000. It's a P900. This is the one that's been fueling flat Earth the whole time, and not a single one of them ever did this. I'm the first one, and I'm telling you the water's curving up. All right, so here's another piece of footage that I went and got. It's 4 miles, okay? And my camera altitude is 6 inches, okay? So 6 inches, Now, this boat is in between me and that shore. And this boat is surely sticking up out of the water more than 6 inches. So my question to you is, how the hell am I seeing the other shore with this boat in my way? What shape does the water have to be? How am I seeing the shore over the boat unless there's a dip in the water and the boat's in it? You can't claim like low tide and high tide because then all the water would be up or all of it would be low. Water is concave, which means I'm seeing over the boat. This boat's too close. You know what I'm saying? So I can't see over this one because it's too close. It's not as this one's way further away, actually in the dip. You see what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense if water's always curving down and away or flat. This observation wouldn't be possible. I'd be looking at the boat from my camera altitude. My camera altitude is right on the surface of the water. I mean, if you can watch this footage and be like, holy shit, he's like, the camera was, I was actually over the water, not over the sand. I was over the water. So, yeah, just things to think about because, nobody, none of the, I mean, it's just just like with the plumb bob and all these other, you know, taking 3 measurement points and all this other stuff that flat earthers like to avoid. They also like to avoid that. Leveling the camera. Did you have anything to add on that? Oh, okay. Apparently he stepped away for a second.
Just that. I think there's a bit of a delay, but just that the photo that you were showing with the boat and stuff, we couldn't tell what your elevation was, if you get me. We can't tell.
Yeah, I didn't have a second camera recording me do it.
Yeah.
So I can't prove it, but what I'm saying is this is my claim and people can go do it themselves. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So this is meant to generate thought.
To know what you are interpreting, you need to know exactly what you're interpreting, like exactly what elevation from the water you were at there and the camera was up there and stuff. That's all I wanted to add is that.
Yeah, like for example, this one I did do that. I had a second camera filming this one, and it you know it proves that you know XYZ. Yeah. You know, it's not just camera footage. It's a camera filming the camera. So it proves. If I had done that with this one, I could have proven my altitude, and you know, so I get it. But still, if this camera was at 6 inches altitude, like I claim, you know. And people will be able to test this themselves. They can go right to this very spot. I was at Nahant Island. I was at Tudor Wharf. I can tell you exactly what spot on the island I was at. They can go and film this themselves. From the very, I even show in this video. I even show where my car was parked at Tudor Wharf. At Nahant Island. I can show you what parking spot I parked in. So you literally, so you can go do this yourself. And I made it so easy to do so.
Yeah.
I actually show the car in the parking spot where exactly where I was. So go do it yourself and prove me wrong, you know?
Yeah.
That much I can provide, you know?
It's good, but your other footage is better than the one on the beach.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is a much better point to make that, well, tons of flat earthers have done this right here, but no flat earther has done this right here. That I have seen. I haven't seen a flat earther upload any footage anywhere that showed this.
Me neither.
I've yet to see it, and I'm sure if somebody had done that in the flat earth community, it would have went viral, right? No, it didn't, because no one's doing it. Why? Because they'd have to show you a horizon that a point of convergence, a vanishing point that's above center frame, and that raises many, many questions. for very good reason. That's why nobody in the flat Earth community is doing it.
Yeah, if anyone did do it,
find a better reason why the flat Earth community isn't doing it. Isn't that Occam's razor tells you that's the most obvious answer? That's why no one is doing it, is because the horizon's above center frame. Hello, you need a bigger clue? Really? You need a bigger clue than that? So I don't know.
Someone calling you?
Yeah. I don't know who. I'd have to open. I'll open another window. Hold on.
It's on Facebook, that.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, Facebook call.
That sounds like a Google Hangout ring. Oh, JayDreamerZ was calling. Okay, that's cool.
I don't know. Yeah, you might be right. I'm struggling.
No, yeah, no, I am right because I just saw it on my phone. So hold on, I'm gonna stop screen sharing. Right here.
Post a hangout. I'll kill this.
Yeah.
Join that hangout. Get Jay on. I'll kill this.
Well. That's the thing. I can't because. Hold on. Let me see if I can join on here. See, I'm not getting it here. I'd have to answer it on my phone. I'll just answer it on my phone. Hold on.
Not being funny, guys, but if people can't give us the last name,
I'd have to answer it on my phone.
All right. Hello.
What's up, dude?
Hi.
Hey, hold on. Let me pause the other video so it's not in the background. I'm so sorry I'm interrupting. I know you're totally doing something with him.
No, it's all good.
And I'm also sorry about my language. I was totally triggered.
You guys were both triggered, so I knew it. I'm just like, it's all good. No, I mean, you guys, I had nothing to do with it, so it's all good.
I can talk about anything. I can talk about anything. But
Sure.
when people take it personal and they start calling me names and trying to degrade me personally, I'm still working on that as a person to try really hard to separate my instincts of saying
Sam loves you. He did that so that this conversation would happen. You know what I mean? That's
he didn't
I
have to. He didn't have to. Oh my god, I talk to people all of the time.
I know, but he doesn't. I know, but you're right. He probably didn't have to with you. But I mean, he doesn't. He
didn't have to at all.
It's a big world. He doesn't know everybody. I know. Hey, I approach people totally differently. I get you. Totally. I get it. I approach people like he's the bad cop. I'm the good cop. It's a shitty role he's playing. He has to look like such a dick so many times just to do any good sometimes. I know.
It ain't doing any good though.
Yeah.
There's no good. Oh, well, I mean, you and I are talking, and I get a good vibe from you. You seem like a decent fellow so far.
Yeah.
But as far as me and him go, dude, he used to come to my channel and leave comments and stuff, and I would comment right back, and there was no problems. And then he starts making these videos, and it's like
he was waiting for you to announce Concave. He really was hoping you'd look into it and it would resonate with you. And he gets very disappointed when he doesn't see people,
there's a difference
speak up about it.
Someone looks into it and forcing somebody to look into it.
That's true.
And forcing somebody to come out and declare, that you share the same beliefs as they do or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, but from every video he's made, it's evident and clear. He hasn't even watched any of the videos. He just saw Flat Earth in the title and decided, oh, this guy has a lot of subscribers. I'm gonna try to piss him off so that I can get some more followers my way. Which is manipulative.
I can
reach out and talk to me like a regular, decent human being.
I can understand your perspective. So you and I are talking like regular human beings. You know what I mean? So hold on, let me grab a charger.
That stuff get out.
Yeah, because
before we continue, I just want to say one more thing about that.
Sure.
The whole last name and giving out my thing, dude. I used to do that all the time until my channel got big, and my son's mother made a request like, "Hey, I'd like to keep our personal lives personal and private, because I'm separated, and she cares about our son. She doesn't want his last name given out on the internet. She doesn't want anything you know, his life at all in coming into my work, coming into what I do, because honestly, there's weird people out there. I've had stalkers, I've had, you know, threats, I've had weird people out there, and people have mentioned stuff about my son. So I had to take all my videos about my son out. I had to not mention, you know, anybody's names or anything out of respect for my family. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not like because I don't share my name, oh, I'm, you know, some dark entity, or I have something to hide, or I work for the, you know, Illuminati or whatever.
Yeah. Well, you and I don't have that history, so.
Yes, you're right.
So let's talk about the Earth. I mean, if you want to.
Yes, that's totally fine with me. I don't mind at all.
Cool.
All right, so obviously you're very concave, right? Okay, let me take it a step backwards. Okay, let me explain to you where I've been, where I've come from, and where I'm going. Right, where I've been is I've been in academia, advanced in all of their academics and whatnot. Was very proud of it to the point of I could win at Jeopardy every time. You know what I mean? And then I started getting into you know, the hollow earth model. So I started studying the hollow earth, and I was getting really into that. And then when I exhausted all the information I could possibly get from the hollow earth model, I saw the flat earth videos, and I was like, wow, it's interesting. I'll check that out. And I started, you know, sucking in all the information I could possibly get from the flat earth model because I thought it was all very interesting. I have seen, you know, a few of the concave ones. The first one I saw was Lord Stephen Christ's channel and stuff like that. I stopped watching his channel, and I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but I stopped watching because I left a comment on his, and I'm not saying you're affiliated with him whatsoever, by the way, but you could probably relate to the story that I'm going to tell you. I left a comment like saying, hey, you're an interesting guy. And then he writes back cursing me and wishing all these sicknesses upon me, and that, you know, something bad can happen to me unless I confess and this and that. At which point I wrote him back and cursed him and told him that he's going to suffer, you know, hours upon hours of darkness sometime in the next 24 hours.
So you both got sucked into hate, right? And it's because you didn't stick to the science. That's why he does that. No, I'm serious. That's why it's a gatekeeping tactic that he does. He gives you like all this wealth of information, or should I say, all these different avenues to explore that should shed light on some truth. And then at the same time, he does X, Y, Z, and it totally like pushes you away. It totally like, oh, screw that. I don't want to watch none of that stuff. And so what it does is it divides the people who are just there for the science, that'll just be able to like, well, I don't know about all that God stuff, but I mean, water's diamagnetic, mega cryometeors, 100-kilometer barrier, you know, lights bending, like all like that is what matters. Like that's if the earth is like this and heaven's in the center, like that's, forget all that, all this other personality stuff. Like what if the shape matters? Like what if if heaven's in the center, that's what matters. You know what I mean? And then all the religious and all the writings and all the history and all this other stuff, like it's kind of like, all right, time out. What's going on here? If we live inside an earth and there's other life in the middle, like that changes the whole game right there. And if heaven is actually, if all we live in is like this spherical onion layer of 62 miles, like there's a barrier 62 miles up, it's close. So if we just live in like this little onion layer, spherical onion layer, and all of heaven is like in the middle and like takes up way more volume, like cubic feet, cubic yards, cubic miles, you know, then heaven is bigger than the earth and it's inside of us. That's what that really means. Heaven is inside the earth, and it's still bigger. It's still bigger than the outside, even though it's on the inside. That's what that really means. That's the clue. Heaven's in the earth, and there's life in there, and that freaking matters, man. That matters. Where do you think all this? Why do you think we're being deceived about where we live? You know, whatever your ideas, whether you think it's creator this or God that or aliens or reptilians, whatever, it doesn't matter. Everyone's going to have their own, like, holy fuck, this matters. And that matters.
Right. Well, for me, it's just philosophy. For me, it's questioning the reality that's been presented to us. And
what a better question to ask. What a better question to ask your audience than, hey, time out. What if all of this comes together because it's been right above our heads in front of our faces the whole time? Like, what if forget all the religions and the gods and all that stuff? Like, if life was created from the center outwards, you know, that's huge. That's a huge monumental find for mankind to realize, oh my goodness, all this time, this blackness that's been the sky, I've actually been looking at the center of the earth the whole time, looking up, and there's life up there. Like,
that would be monumental. However, for somebody like myself, I haven't really looked into all the different proofs and evidences you have. So for me, it's not monumental. For me, it's an idea that's interesting, and I may look further into it, or I may not, depending on, you know, my situation.
Sure.
But for me, it's philosophy. I can talk about any subject, you know, as long as that's what we're talking about is the subject. But what I don't do is I don't get on my channel and tell my viewers and my subscribers what to believe in or what to perceive the world as, how to feel about things. I tell them all the time, here is my path. This is where I am right now. I'm sharing with you my present moment. And
ask them questions. You don't have to tell them anything. You can ask them stuff. You can trigger thought just by asking them questions. Say, hey, what if this or what if that? Just to trigger thought. And then, you know, you don't have to. It's like, you don't have to be a militant soldier and say, you do this and you do that and you must believe this and you know, that's not. I agree. It's not about that. It's about sharing information. Triggering thought. We can all learn from each other, grow from each other, sharpen each other. That's what it's supposed to be about. That's what a real grassroots thing would do. You know what I'm saying? And so we should all bounce these ideas off each other and say, hey, oh yeah, those plumb bob experiments. Yeah, you're right. The convex earthers and the flat earthers don't talk about that. Like the helio and flat, like they all seem to be hiding the same things. That's an anomaly in itself. So even realizing something like that will just help trigger thought, you know?
Right, I understand what you're saying, but here's the other thing, right? Because I know you guys would love, because I have a lot of subscribers, you would love for me to get on and start talking about the convex Earth. However, there are a lot of theories out there. There are a lot of different ideas. Some I've come across, some I haven't. I'm not just going to jump on my channel and say, hey, some random off of the fucking internet wanted me to mention this to everybody. So let me just, you know, do what other people tell me to do with my channel, as opposed to me sharing what I have come across. So I understand that, and I would never suggest that I would have a right to tell you what to do with your own channel. You know what I mean? And I certainly, you know, I get where you're coming from, but just try to separate Sam from me, because, you know, I you know, you and I don't have that history. You know what I mean? That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So
that's what I'm saying though. Like I have been looking into one particular model right now, which is not a flat earth model, nor is it a spherical, but it's a lot different.
Sure.
You haven't even seen most of my videos, probably, right?
Probably not. So, I mean, you know, that's why I'm not attacking anything you're looking into, because you're right. I don't even know. So, you know, you and I have a clean slate, you know, so that's.
So right now, you know, I'm never going to have like proof. You know, I don't even like the word proof. I don't like evidence. I don't like proof. I don't like science. I don't like any of these words that imply that somebody has ultimate knowledge on a particular topic or subject. My mind is open within reason, and that reason is the circle of my experience and perspective. Does that make sense? So far, right now, the model that I like the best, that matches up with the things that I've been talking about on my channel, is it's really I've never even thought about how to actually just come right out and say it, because every time I talk about the model, I describe a small piece of it. But I could draw it for you if you want. That way you could get a better idea of like where I am now, if you like. Do you want to see it?
Well, however you choose. I mean, you could You
let me
could
see if I can-
you could link me to. I mean, you could do it any kind of ways. You could draw it. You could link me to a video. You could suggest a certain video. You could screen share a video. Yeah, you know, it's all up to you. There you go. Okay.
Okay, so let me erase this. Okay. And let's pick a color that works here.
Josh, can you find a similar image or draw it out for us once you've got it?
Well,
That work?
it'd be.
Okay, I'm seeing if it works. Okay, so I'm gonna draw like a very rough draft diagram for you. Okay, I'm gonna talk as I draw. Sorry. Okay, so this bottom part right here is, you could look at this sort of like, okay, hold on, let me go back real quick. Okay, sorry about that. So this is all very rough draft. Okay,
Sure.
So this is none of this is set in stone, but it gives you an idea of where I'm coming from. Okay, so
Sure.
There's this bottom. I'm just gonna talk. Can you hear me as I'm drawing? Did you hear me before?
I can hear you. Yep.
Okay, cool. Let me just go back to drawing, and I'll just talk while I draw.
Yeah, I can hear you while you draw. Yep.
All right, so this you could look at as sort of like. Well, hold on. Let me do this. Okay, so this line, this flat line right here, this is the flat earthers model. This is the ground, basically. Okay.
Okay.
In my model, this is their model. Okay, so this is like the flat earth model is this right here, right? And then this up here, on the bottom of this, basically underneath the earth, okay? There's like what you could refer to as like a stem. This would be like the stem, the thing that holds up, or the earth is attached to this bottom portion right here, okay? What this does is it generates an electromagnetic field. That electromagnetic field causes this this field wraps around the top up here, and at the top of that, that's where the quote unquote, you know, ice dome of the ceiling would be in my model, okay, and in the one that I'm going with for now, we'll say, okay, because all of this is up for speculation or change or whatever, right? But anyhow, let me keep drawing.
Okay.
Here's the flat earth. This is the plane. Obviously, it's not perfectly flat. It's like, you know, chunky soup, you could say, okay? There's mountains in here. There's all kinds of things in here. But overall, the general shape right here is flat. And then you've got the electromagnetic field. This field not only goes up, but it also comes down underneath. So it goes in a complete circle. And this is the, or this would be, for, you know, lack of a better terms, this is how I see the concavity of it, the concave model. So this right here, this is the spherical world, so to speak, which is actually, there's more to it than this. This is just our local area. This is the spherical world. And then this, everything on the inside is on the inside of that world. And so we are living on the inside of that, you know, ball shape, sphere shape, whatever shape that is, you know, globular, egg shape, what people, you know, call it different things or whatever. So, out here, you have other ones as well. This stem right here, it actually has, it's open right here in the middle. I'm sorry, this is such a poor drawing right now.
So what I'm saying is you still believe that humans live on a flat portion of that drawing.
Flat-ish, right? I mean, like a level portion, yeah.
Yeah. Well, by level you mean like straight line, because
yeah. So basically, in the middle of that bubble. Oh, look at it like a snow globe, right? You've seen like the snow globe models, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I'm sorry. I'm trying to get you on my laptop, and I can't seem to.
Oh, you're take your time. So in the snow globe model, the land is the flat portion in the middle, but then the glass itself on the top represents the sky, and then in reality, it seems to me in reality, the electromagnetic field that makes the glass portion, or I think it's actually made out of ice, the ice portion above, that electromagnetic field wraps all the way around and it goes all the way down until it gets to the bottom where there is a cavernous area. There's an opening. I actually draw. I show way better pictures and stuff. I know
you seem to have some things about that model that are unique that are similar with the concave model. You know what I'm saying? Like when you talk about there being a hole, you know, near the bottom of, you know, that whatever. And so, you know, in concave Earth, there's holes at the poles as well. Another thing you mentioned was ice, was glass and ice in the sky. And that's something that also you share with concave Earth, is that there's both glass and ice, and there's actually ice attached to the glass. So those are so.
I was telling you guys to begin with.
So there's some similarities there.
I'm not disagreeing completely. I'm just
you're finding things that are true, possibly. You know what I'm saying? So that's cool. I think that's cool.
Yeah, there's definitely some things that we agree on. And I'm not the type of person to, like, you know, I would not tell you you're wrong.
Right.
The thing
so here's something that I would suggest. You know, I'm not telling you what to do, or I'm not telling you what is or what isn't. But here's something I would look into. Regardless of shape, convex, flat, or concave, regardless of the shape, I would look, if I were you, I would look into the proximity of the barrier and whether or not the barrier is parallel with the Earth. I'm talking about the ionosphere. At the Kármán line at 100 kilometers, 62 miles. If that barrier, regardless of shape, if that barrier is parallel with the Earth's surface, then that would mean that we would have a barrier at a constant altitude, regardless of shape. And that would matter because that would give us more answers to do with, you know, pressure and stuff like that. If we lived on a flat surface with a dome, then the altitude of that barrier would change based on your location on the Earth. In the concave Earth, the altitude of the barrier in the sky is relatively identical no matter where you are on Earth.
Well,
and that could be true of the flat or convex Earth too. There could be a flat Earth, quote unquote, with a barrier that's also flat, or there could be a convex Earth with a barrier that's also 60. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm saying, regardless of shape, just researching alone the altitude of the barrier, number one, and number two, whether or not that barrier is a constant distance, you know, parallel with the Earth's surface, regardless of shape. Just those two things alone are going to be huge. They're important.
Check out this drawing. So, as far as the altitude, I would think it depends upon the shape of the dome, right? Because you could have one that's like this.
Exactly.
The altitude is very similar all throughout. Or you could have a dome, how most people draw a dome, very much like a McDonald's arch, you know what I mean?
Right.
Where it's going to be a lot different as you go up.
Sure.
So, the dome shape is, for me, I don't like the word dome because a lot of people automatically have a mental image of what a dome looks like, usually a bowl shape or something, but it doesn't have to be that type of a shape. All it is a covering that's, you know, it could be like a bubble, and it could be, it doesn't have to be like so arched as how people show it, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So you were able to call me through Google Hangouts, right?
I had to go to your channel, and then I had to look at your about section and find your email.
Okay. You use the Zenith Atlas one, right? That channel? Okay. All right. Yeah, for some reason I'm trying to switch I got my cell phone here, and so I'm trying to switch so that I can get you on my computer so that I can screen share you stuff. But
Okay.
so I can't really seem to. I can't seem to like find you here. You know what I mean? It's not even showing JayDreamerZ. I'm refreshing the page and I don't see it on my computer.
Wait, one more time. What are you trying to do?
I'm talking to you on my cell phone right now.
Oh, you're trying to switch it?
I'm trying to have this conversation with you on my laptop that I'm in front of. You know what I mean?
Well, I'll probably have to just hang up and then recall you and then you answer on the laptop.
Yeah, that's the thing. It wasn't showing up on my laptop. It was only ringing on my phone, which I thought was weird. So
it might work if you log into your Gmail account, and then like it'll have a little sidebar of conversations or something.
Yeah, I should be.
Looking for that, I was also going to tell you that another reason why I really like the current model that I've been playing around with is that it absolutely fits the. There's this topic that I've been researching a lot lately and talking about on my channel called the plasma apocalypse, which is a different description of this cyclical reset that the world goes through. And with the model that I was kind of drawing for you there, everything works really well for it. Like, maybe not perfectly, but it all really lines up. And so for now, that's the model that I use because it's easy to show people. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay. I can understand that. I was a flat earther for I was a flat earther for 2.5 years, ever since 2015. So I definitely understand. I know you've probably been beating your head against the wall several things, trying to figure out, trying to figure out what isn't number one, and then trying to figure out what is number two. You know what I mean? Because we know we're just being lied to and all this disinfo, and we're trying to figure out, that there doesn't appear to be any downwards curve. You know what I mean? Stuff like that, and all these like map issues and the stars and like what's the flight routes, and it just gets. It gets hairy after a while. It gets tough it gets very difficult to sift through all the lies,
Well, I'll tell you something that might interest you. The first time I actually heard or the idea of a concave realm was presented to me was not even on YouTube or I didn't see anybody. It was the book Worlds Beyond the Poles. Have you read that?
I have not.
Okay, well, you might be interested in it.
Yeah.
But it's a really old book that this guy wrote. And when he was describing the world, he actually drew some pictures on there that I think that you'll probably resonate with a lot, actually, because it's pretty much a concave Earth that he draws. Right. But when he talks about the world, he says that men went out beyond the edges of like Antarctica, and when they kept going, they ended up on top of the world. They ended up upside down above, basically, and that their sky was the sky for those who lived down below. And so I thought that was really interesting, and I incorporated that. Obviously, if the world is concave, then that would make sense as well, right? You just walk all the way around, and you're on the other side, and you're so far away that the sky in the middle. I mean, I don't want to speculate on how it works, but I would like to draw for you how it works with a theory that I have.
Sure.
I'll just draw it real quick for you.
Yeah.
So check this out. Because I was also talking about electromagnetics. They play into this a lot as well. But let me draw the very simple version here. All right, you got the flat land-ish, right? And then you've got this dome. Remember I said the dome doesn't have to be like that, right? So the dome can actually bend out at the edges like a loaf of bread. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
How it kind of like curves right there instead of coming down at a 90-degree angle the way most people think. Now, if gravity, I'm gonna draw a bigger picture. I'm gonna show you the direction or the flow of what people call gravity. I don't believe in gravity, but electromagnetic.
I got you. The force that's making stuff go down. I got you.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So, like I said, here's a rudimentary drawing right here. Now, gravity down here is pulling or pushing in this direction, right? But when it gets to the edges, it starts to go this way. And in the middle right here, it actually goes like this. So anyhow, it's feasible if this was correct. Are you guys celebrating?
No, I'm smoking. So he was laughing.
Okay. All right, so check this out. It's feasible with this model right here. If a person were to walk this direction, that gravity would just help them out, and they would be able to walk all the way up to the top up here. Not only that, but if there's anything caught in the middle right here, where essentially that's where the gravity splits in two different directions, right? This would be close to 0G or weightlessness, which possibly could be where these things are quote unquote orbiting our world or whatever, right here in the middle. Also, right here in the middle, this is where sprites exist. Do you know what a sprite is? Like a weather sprite? Yes,
I happen to be quite familiar with those. They're directly related to the barrier that I was talking about.
Yes, and that's kind of what I think as well, because the sprites, when you watch them in slow motion, they shoot upwards and they shoot downwards, right? Shouldn't be like that. That means that something is that's
up and down.
Line, you know what I mean?
Up and down. Hey, go back to your drawing. I want to show you something.
Okay.
I want to show you like how I want to show you. Oh man, what percentage do I put on this? How right or how half right you are. This is amazing that you're doing this. What you're saying, this is amazing what you're saying. You're right. Like look, this is very similar to this is exactly the concave model. You just have a different shape. You have a half sphere instead of a full sphere, but you're still saying that this force is being pushed. Like you see, like it's being pushed down. Yes, you're showing a force coming downwards. And then on the dome, you're showing the force going upwards. So what you're saying is that the force is being away from center. Concave Earth agrees. Yes, you're on the right track. Now, if you had just made that a full sphere with heaven at the center and universal compression, which is what Tesla spoke of, universal compression is push. So Shazwar Bugdi when he did the slinky thing, he just dropped the slinky. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I don't.
Okay. Well, if you just hold a slinky like,
yes, I do. Yes, I do.
You record it in slow mo and you let the slinky go. What that shows is that the top comes down before the bottom ever moves, which means the force is coming from above downwards, which you are right about. So what I want to ask a question. When I hold an object in the air, okay, and I let it go, okay, the heliocentric explanation for that is gravity. There's a force coming from the center of Earth holding everything to the outside of a ball, right? Rotating or not, even a convex stationary ball, whatever. Gravity is the answer, pulls everything to the center, okay? A flat earther will say, well, this object is more dense than the air, therefore it falls, which is true. It is more dense in the air and it falls, but it doesn't explain how or why. Now, in a concave Earth, you have two forces. You have an upwards force and you have a downwards force. So the reason why when I let this go, it doesn't start moving sideways is because there are no sideways forces. The reason it goes down is because there is a down force. So my question is, when I was just smoking the bowl and I blew out my hit and the smoke went up, how? How did it go up if there's no upwards force? If gravity is a singular pulling force, if there's only a downwards force, how the hell does anything go up? If you know what I mean, like you have to believe in magic to believe that anything rises, helium, smoke, steam, balloons, anything. Right. If anything rises, just without being motored or assisted, if smoke just goes up, that means that there's a tug of war. There's a as above, so below. There's a push and a pull. You know what I mean? There's a push and a pull happening within this Earth. That's the only way buoyancy and equilibrium can exist, is in that way each object, based on its properties, its mass, density, weight, etc., that determines whether it goes up or down. And so that, you know, with any enclosed model, whether it's flat, convex, or concave, you know, there has to be two opposing forces in our reality. And so you know, that would work in every model, except, you know, concave is the only one that has anything like that. And so you're going to find that a lot with concave Earth is like, hey, how come concave Earth is consistently the one that can answer all this shit? And flat Earth can only answer half of it. Heliocentric team can only answer 35% of it because they still got the stars and the maps right. Flat Earth can't answer shit. What the fuck is going on here? You know what I mean? Like, damn it, you know? They got no maps, they got no stars, they got no, I mean, they're all they're doing is filming water and calling it flat, and there's all these, like, you look at the Skunk Bay footage and you see like the mountaintops changing throughout the day, and it's like, what that has nothing to do with, that doesn't have anything to do with tides. Or fucking mountains on the other side of the lake are going like this throughout the day, the time lapse. And it's like, obviously the air is like totally changing our perspective on anything. So anywhere, any given spot on the Earth is going to be different than any other given spot on the Earth at any given time. The optical doesn't prove shit, and all the tangible experiments are also showing concave. And it's like, what about you Google water and it tells you it's concave. It's like, what the fuck is going on here? You look at at a small scale, a glass of water, that glass of water is going to follow the concavity of a fucking 8,000 mile wide ball. You're not going to see curvature in a glass of water. Duh. You know, same thing in a lake or a pool. You're not going to see that unless you're at a big body of water and you level the P900, right? I'm the only one on all of YouTube that I've seen so far. I haven't seen one single flat earther do what I've done, and that's take a P900, show that it's level, and every time, no matter whether I'm in New Hampshire, whether I'm in Florida, whether I'm in Georgia, or whether I'm in Michigan, whether the water's salt or fresh water, the horizon is always above center frame with a level P900 on both horizontal axes, whether I zoom or not. And so that perspective, that, you know, the vanishing point convergence horizon that flat earthers use to claim the Earth, you know, that's true on every model. But if you've got a horizon that's consistently above center frame, that would indicate concavity. If you've got a horizon that's constantly center frame, that would indicate flatness. If you've got a horizon that's constantly below center frame, that would indicate convexity. Horizon is always above center frame. And, you know, when you end this Google call, you're going to see it go like this. And that's going to show you that it's above center frame too. Even Google, when you hang up with a Google call, you know how it goes, all the windows go, you'll notice it's not center frame. It's like way above frame, showing you that even the point of convergence, that hallway that flat earthers like to use proves the Earth is flat. That works in concave too. All you got to do is change your point of convergence above center frame, and it's gonna, you know, Google shows it. I mean, so it's just a massive trick. None of the flat maps work, and the spherical maps, you know. Here's another thing: if you take let's say you take 100 cities, the 100 biggest cities in the world, and you connect every city to every other 99 cities, right? That's a lot of lines. You're going to create a web. Now that web doesn't work in a flat form. It only works in the spherical, in the convex or concave. You know what I mean? That web can't be laid out in flat form. I've dissected everything that Ronnie and Jason have done with their square flat Earth and stuff like that. You know, if you take any globe map, if you unwrap it in circular fashion, you're going to get an A.E. Gleason that doesn't work. If you unwrap it in rectangular fashion, you're going to get a UTM map, a square UTM map. You're going to have to do the Pac-Man teleportation thing on the rectangle and the square ones. That's what you're left with. Or you're going to have to go with the Gleason. And it's obvious that the Earth is a globe and the curve isn't going down. And it really is that simple. The curve's going up, and we live the Earth has to be a sphere based on the stars and the maps alone. it's just there's so, and people say, oh, the earth, people knew the earth was flat for thousands of years. If you look at how many concave earth maps there are throughout time, there's like 700 of them, and the actual amount of flat earth ancient maps is anemic. You'll notice most of them are what? They're not even maps, they're paintings. Oh, the Navajo and all these different cultures, look at all these different paintings. Like Matt Powerland should have jumped right in there and said, hey, those are paintings. I know you're promoting flat earth, but those are fucking paintings, bro. And he didn't do none of that. He didn't do none of that.
Well, here's one of my thoughts. One of my thoughts is that it's so much easier to, prove the shape of the world if we were able to leave the world or get far enough away.
Well, we can measure the water. We can do plumb bob experiments. You know what I mean?
I agree. There are things that we can do. It's just that it's, they're more difficult than the easy thing, which is to just go way out there and look at it, right?
Filming it's easy, yeah. I mean,
that's one of the things. Like when I've talked about, like, for example, flat Earth, it's just me throwing out some information that I've looked at.
Nothing wrong with that.
Just like, see, because I don't really talk. That's why Samuel, if that's his real name. I'm just kidding. He didn't see any of my flat Earth stuff because I took that down because I realized my views on the shape of the world are evolving and changing. And while I can see some aspects of mainstream flat earthers and the way they see it, I also see some aspects of other people and how they see it. So, I didn't want to keep all that stuff up there so that people that are new to my channel come and they go, oh, this is what he believes in. He planted his flag and he's standing upon this truth or whatever.
Because then they're gonna reject all your other information just because they see the word flat.
Either that, or honestly,
or you know what I mean, or
it's going to take up a lot of my time
to
try to answer and explain and this and that. So I just keep it in my head. You know what? It's not what I've been told. Boom! I'm standing up on that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's not what I've been told. Now I can start. I can keep in mind the shape while exploring what seems to me to be other more important issues, like what's going on inside, or like why the secret is being kept from us, and what the agenda is, and things of that nature.
Right.
I mean? So that's why I like to speculate, not just on the shape, because I feel like people get stuck too much on the shape and the shape and the shape. What about the implications?
It's exactly. I think the shape is, because I think the shape is just a byproduct. It's not about the actual shape. The shape is a byproduct of the creation, and it's finding the creation, finding the what. All right, like what? Why are we here? Okay, well, if we're created beings, then then if we're created beings, that's the first step in answering why are we here. Okay, we're created beings. Okay, so that question now hasn't. If we weren't created beings, that question would have no answer. Why are we here? If we weren't created beings, there would be no answer. But we are created beings, so there's an answer. Okay, so that's step one. Step two, where's this creator? So that's why I posed the question. If it's not about technically it's not about the shape. It's about, if and only if it's concave and heaven's in the center. If we're convex and heaven's somewhere out this way or this way or this way or this way, the creator is over here or over there in a fake outer space. That's why they're lying. Okay, in a fake outer space, then that's why they're hiding the shape of the earth. It doesn't have to be about any particular god or religious book or church or whatever. You know what I mean? That can come after. For some people, the biblical evidence leads them to the physical evidence. For some people, the physical evidence leads them to the biblical evidence. This conversation, I wanted to talk about, the physical evidence, because based on my brief conversation with you, I think that's the best way to go. And, so if what if the Earth is, if this concave model is true, hypothetically, or even, then heaven's at the creation exists from the center outwards. That's in the middle. That's
now what
that ties right into what you were talking about, like why finding the forget the shape, like let's find let's answer these questions about like Kent Hovind said, like if remember when Kent Hovind was like so he was quoting somebody else and is like there's two possibilities. One, there's no God and that's frightening, and two, there is a God and that's frightening too. We better figure out like what he is and like what he wants and do what he says or something like that. Okay, so you could, in theory, just negate that word God. I'm not trying to take God out of it, but I'm just saying for the people who care about the science, you could still apply that and say, okay, scientifically, if we're created beings, that means we have a creator. They might care about what we do.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like whoever those creators or creator is, fill in the blank, leave it what you will, but that might, you know what I mean? That might matter. And if we actually find this creator, then what better way to get those answers is to find the source that created us. That seems so fundamentally simple that it's going to go right over people's heads. Like, wait, what did he just say? Yeah. Like if we literally find the physical place that created us, like what else could possibly be more important than that right now in 2019? Like what more could impact the world than that, nothing. Nothing at all.
It's the elite, no, and they're working on it. We've just stumbled on this planet there.
That's the other side of the coin. One is finding God or finding our creator. The other one is trying to live long enough to be able to find your God or creator, right? That's why I've been looking into these cyclical resets and stuff. So I was going to ask you, two questions. One is, in the concave model, is do you guys in general, right? Because everybody's different, but I guess I'll just say, do you have any type of explanation as to how these cataclysms come about or where they come from?
Yes and no. Obviously I haven't been there, obviously. No, right. So I can't yeah, so obviously this is all speculation, of course. Right, so disclaimer, this is all speculation. But yeah, according, I'm not, but I'm still live with Sam on the laptop. Okay. So I think he's listening and just broadcasting our conversation.
Wouldn't surprise me.
But he's being good. He's just being quiet. He's doing what I was doing before. He's just listening to us, and he's not butting in. So he's just whatever. But we want you to be heard too. So yeah, to answer your question, if it's asserted before that aside from the Bible, there's all kinds of historical evidence that there was a day where the sun stopped. If the sun stops, that could greatly impact the Earth because allegedly it only stopped for one day. But if the Earth stopped for more than one day, and we have a close barrier that's glass and ice, and it burns a hole through that, Scripture predicts lots of hail and broken firmament being ripped open and when you match and so that's the future. And so when you go back in time on the other side of the coin, when you go back in time and realize that there was most likely this creation is a recreation. You know what I'm saying? That even in Genesis 1, water existed before the creation. That's huge. That's huge. Like, wait a minute, in all these pre-Adamic races. So if and plus, then you tie that in with this Messiah thing. It's like, well, wait a minute. Oh, this Messiah seems to have a lot of legitimacy. And then you have this other crowd saying, yeah, but it's just a repackaged version of all these other Messiahs. And then you're like, well, wait a minute. If all these other Messiahs were just other Messiahs of those particular ages of all those different cataclysms, and Jesus Christ happens, you know, what if everybody's right? What if, you know what I mean? What if, so then you start thinking about that, but that's the whole biblical scientific route. You know what I mean? But
the second question was, what do you suppose is in the middle? Like where the heaven is?
Well, it's in the concave model, it's asserted that you have an octahedron in the center. And so I don't know if you know what that shape, it's basically a pyramid up and a pyramid down, you know what I mean? And so you have a light source at the top of that octahedron, just like in your dollar bill. It shows you the top half of that octahedron, and it shows you the capstone separated from the bottom of the pyramid, indicating that they're the elite above us, and they're separated because they have this knowledge of the light coming out of the top of the capstone that we don't have. It's the concave Earth reference is right on the dollar bill. So anyway, so you have the light source coming out of the top of the octahedron, and that's powering a physical sun that orbits around the celestial sphere, providing light to half of the inside of a globe, not half the outside of one.
So would it be semi-accurate if I were to say, in the concave model, if there was some sort of fiery cataclysm, that the most likely place it would come from is the heavens or the middle?
Yeah, I mean, yes, yeah, that's where the quote unquote war in heaven is that Zen speaks of, and that's where, you know, that's where the fallen angels were cast out of heaven, is because they were in heaven. Also, Scripture says that the sun and moon are inside the firmament, you know, indicating that there's when it talks about the water, it talks about waters above the firmament and below the firmament. Right. But when it talks about the sun and moon, it talks about them being inside and outside. So it tells you the difference, that there's a difference between above the firmament. The firmament is basically a spherical glass that's just smaller than the earth one. So there's a difference between above the firmament and below the firmament, and inside the firmament and outside the firmament. And so inside the firmament, that doesn't work on the flat model. For it to be inside the firmament, there has to be an inside to the firmament. Unless the lights are actually within like the glass or ice, or you know what I mean? No.
Yeah, I do. Actually, I incorporated that into the one that I'm working on right now. You want to see it?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll just draw it real quick.
Because it's obvious to all the concavers that we don't have an omnidirectional light ball moving under a glass dome. It's obvious that the sun, all the luminaries are on the other side of this Kármán line ionosphere barrier.
This model right here, let me see how far I can draw here. I think I can go further out. All right, so I'm going to draw it pretty big right there. And I'm just going to draw the typical dome shape there. Okay, so this is the land, that's the dome right there, right? So in this model that I'm working on, above our dome or our sky, right, you've got plasma coming downwards that is a byproduct of the electromagnetics that charge everything, basically. So this plasma comes down. I'm just going to draw it like that. Right? Now the plasma, because it's also physical, it cannot pass through the ice dome or the barrier. However, the light from the plasma can pass through. So that light meets at a convergence point right here, and then redirects it back down this way. And this right here would be the sun. So this is like a magnifying glass, basically.
Right.
And so the light is coming down, meeting at this focal point. The focal point is inside of the world, and then it redistributes light and energy down that we consider to be sunlight in our world. So
okay.
In that model, I because you have to put the sun and the moon inside. I think that's something that we definitely agree on as well. So that's why I've put, well, it's not me that thought of that or anything, but that's what I do in that model is, the sun goes inside of the world. Like, it's definitely not
right. It's inside of the world, but in that model, the only way to make an inside is to connect this firmament to the earth. The firmament itself doesn't have an inside of its own, So I wanted to point out, you had mentioned the plasma, and so that's in the concave model. That's also why the sky is blue, is because is because we have a dielectric barrier, and which creates a blue plasma because we live enclosed, and that's that's demonstrated in in experiments. You can see that, you can see footage of that.
Well, my video is about the plasma apocalypse. After the apocalypse or the world reset or the switching of the poles or whatever, but specifically the switching of the polarity or the reversal of the polarity, how people would like to see that. To me, what that means is that right now, light itself is coming down and shining down upon us from above. But whenever it switches around, the light now goes upwards. And therefore, the whole world is illuminated, and there's no need for a sunlight or a focal point source. You know what I mean? Everything's just illuminated.
Yeah, it's the same thing in the concave model, because you have light, like you said, coming down from above, but because light's bending down like this, it's coming from above, and light's bending like this, and light's bending back around. And so you're right, light comes down and then goes back up and returns on the other side of the other side of the celestial sphere in the middle, which is the celestial sphere is the rotating ball of stars in the middle. And so that's how we get the opposite star trails and all that stuff. Everything's explained, and all the sun, moon, and planets orbit around that. And so, that's all
I know about it, really.
Honestly. Well, that's just the basics. And so, in this model, you have a light source that's within one of these onion layers of glass, and you've got one or two. You've got at least two different layers of barrier. Negative refractive birefringent barrier. And so that's why we have crepuscular rays, because the light's coming through a barrier this way. Anyway, the sun we see is just an apparition, because you're like from the ground, you've got flat earthers filming, I got the sun in the clouds, and I can do the same thing. I have. And you can see the sun like right there in the clouds. But then when you got high altitude balloon footage, the sun looks like it's, right there with the balloon at 20 miles. So it's like, okay, so that should trigger one thought. But then when you think, okay, while both of those suns are at two different altitudes in Boston, now in LA, they get the same thing. They also have the sun in the clouds, and they have the sun 20 miles up. So now you've got four different suns just from two different locations on the Earth. You've got one location with two different suns based on two different altitudes, and then you've got another location on Earth with two different suns based on two different altitudes. So now you've got four suns. So when you start trying to piece together how that's even possible, it makes sense if you have a concave Earth, right? And you have a sun in the middle, then the people in the north, they're going to get a sun right in their own sky. The people on the equator, they're going to get a sun right in their own sky. The people down in the south, they're going to get a sun right in their own sky. It works if the sun's coming from the center, then everybody gets a sun in their own sky. That right there is like that really ought to make people like, oh fuck, he's right.
Hey, look on your screen. Tell me if you can see the chat message I just put up.
I just leave me a link. Yeah, leave me a link to some vids you like me to check out. Well, you can go to my channel and you can find my Cell Earth evidence playlist, and that'll take you. I mean, that's like over 60 hours of information. That'll take you a long time. That'll take you a long time to go through. But I mean,
I'll check out your stuff.
Yeah.
I have to go right now.
Cool, man.
I'm saying something right now. I just wanted to let you know, man. I'm glad that we got to talk.
Me too.
Since you know the other guy a little, could you please pass along my apologies? I try to be a bigger person than that. And if he wants to talk and be civil, I'm okay with that. Just not all the don't do the bad cop. It doesn't work with me. I'm like, he's right now. We can talk. I'm open to talking. Accusations and name calling and stuff it's not a place I want to go back to. I used to be that kind of a person, and I don't like it, and I don't like being tempted to go back to that.
Yeah.
So, I'm sure he's probably listening, but whatever, just let him know. If you want to chat, I'm totally willing to talk in the same way that you and I just spoke.
Sam is very Sam always appears like he's interrogating everybody, and it's because he's doing this he's so sick of all kinds of fake. What it is legitimately there really is there fake profiles and like sock accounts and all that stuff is real. And he just comes across so much of that shit. He just, you know, it's just it's tough to sift through who's who and what's what. So, you know, it's
when I started on YouTube. I didn't have all my cool backgrounds or anything. It was just me in the living room with the laptop. And I would wake up in the morning and have a big cup of coffee out of a plastic cup that I got from a restaurant. And some guy was heckling me because nobody drinks hot coffee out of a plastic cup. You must be a CIA agent. You must be a plant. You must be this and that.
Like, that's kind of ridiculous. A coffee cup proves you're a shill or something. Yeah.
I was so upset that I pushed live stream on my phone at work. When I used to work at Real Center, and I'm like, bro, I'm at the dollar store right now buying my lunch,
right?
Because I'm poor and I'm just a regular.
And even still, that doesn't prove anything because even CIA shills have to go to the store. So it's like, what do you want us to do to prove we don't work for the government? You know what I mean? Like what? Right. Like I could film myself doing everything. You're still not going to believe me. So just fuck off. I get you, dude. I totally know, dude. I'm telling people we live on the inside of a ball, dude. Trust me. People think all kinds. People say all kinds of nasty shit. You know what I mean? You know, I know you don't, but you know what I'm talking about. You know these crazy. They're just trolls. You know what I mean? They are real. They do exist. And he's so sick of trying to. Yeah, you know, he's so.
Well, I know to the point where like it's a battle. I have to take breaks from YouTube sometimes. Like I had to stop reading all of the comments. Because one, it took so long, and two, I had to weed through all the really horrible, negative, crappy comments about me or what I'm telling people or whatever.
Right.
And it was making me upset.
And you still don't know who's genuine and who's not. Like, even some of the people leaving mean comments are genuine, and even some of the people leaving nice comments are fake. And it's like, oh. You know what I mean?
Like, I see myself as a genuine person. However, I did flip my lid a minute ago at Sam and lost it for a minute, you know, so...
Sometimes, I mean, if it's true that sometimes the people that say the nicest things are the biggest sharks and wolves in sheep's clothing, then that means that sometimes people who say some of the meanest things aren't necessarily all the worst people either. You know what I mean? So there's gonna be these anomalies, and I just think Sam's one of them. You're probably one of them. So I mean, yeah, you guys could probably just move on. He didn't seem to have too much proof that you're promoting too much flat. You know what I mean? You're not going hardcore. You know, you're not really declaring a shape. And so that's, you know, I see this is probably a dead issue. You know what I mean? Just freaking bury it. You guys can have a conversation about, just do what I did. He's nodding his head yes right now. He just wants to have a conversation about the science. Forget the books. Forget the Bibles and the beliefs and religions. He knows he can just, you know, stick to the science. He can forget it. He can forget about your previous past. He can, you know, forget about it. He just did thumbs up. No, he did a thumbs up, so it's all good.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. You remind me of like somebody. Do people tell you that you remind them of a famous person?
One person said Charlie Sheen, and I don't really agree with that.
Oh, what?
I know it. I don't even look like him. It doesn't make any sense.
Bill Murray.
So no, I don't.
Bill Murray.
Anyway, yeah, I'll check out your channel.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm deeply sorry, you know, for flipping my lid earlier. That's well,
you felt like you were being attacked and you felt like you had to defend yourself. So whatever.
No worries. Josh.
Not only that, but, like, you know, I have a family and a personal life that I'm very protective of, and you know, like, I quit my actual job a long time ago because I was getting so much support from people who, you know, are supporting what I do. Like, hey, let me give you a donation. Hey, let me support what you do, etc. And people were encouraging me, like, bro, like, just do this. You know, we'll support you. And so I did. And it was very scary for me to quit my job and to risk a lot of stuff to do what I, you know. So I take what I do, not seriously, because I try to have fun too. But on the other hand, like,
hey,
this is what I do. Like I'm right here in the same spot for 8 hours a day.
I know.
Researching on the computer, learning things, editing things, all this, a lot of work that I put into it, you know? So
the truth is going to ruin your life, man.
Well, until one day, the truth will set us free, right? Until one day, hopefully, whatever people believe
it's gonna I take that back. I misspoke. It's gonna ruin this like a life. You know what I mean? It's not gonna you know what I'm saying. It's not gonna like a lot of people gave their life for freedom. You know, they ruined their own lives just so other people could live off better. So that's what I'm trying to say is some people sometimes, you know, it's about sacrifice, you know. It's just some people, you know.
Well, hey, I'll tell you what, too, because I'm constantly working on, you know, different things to do with my channel or my website that I'm also making, too. But one of the things I was thinking about doing is like a call-in segment so people can call in and just, you know, like our little radio kind of talk show call-in segment.
Sure.
So if that happens, you know, you or Sam or anybody else, when I do that, you'll be welcome to, like, you know, call in and talk about you could bring to the attention of my listeners, you know, all the stuff that you want to talk about.
That's cool.
Being a debate or an argument, or you know what I mean?
It's when I host stuff like that, I call them discussions.
Perfect. Sounds
discussions.
Perfect.
We're just bouncing ideas off each other, and it's, you know, it's just discussions. Even when it's supposed to be a debate, I call it a discussion.
Well, I'm gonna take off, buddy.
All right, cool, man. So hey, so if you want to schedule something like that, what you can do is you can if you go to my about section like you already did, and you can see my Facebook and my phone number there. Feel free to give me a call or send me a message on Messenger or whatever, you know.
I can do that.
Cool.
That sounds easy. All right, have a good rest of your night. Please tell Sam I'm sorry, and you know.
He forgives you already. No, he forgives you already, and you forgive him already, right?
If he's genuine, I'm very sorry too.
Okay, yeah, he says he says if you're genuine, he's sorry too. That's just a joke. He says he's sorry too.
All right, guys.
All right, I think you're all right, man. Cool. Have a good night. Enjoy the time with your family, man.
Thanks. Bye.
All right, take care.
It's very difficult with them. You're not going to get an admission from a troll. They're all going to come up with a story and make out that they're genuine and that they spend their hours a day doing truther stuff. And it's just, you've got to see signs. You've got for everyone that I come out and say, I think this person's a troll, and you've spent couple of months aware of them and an hour looking at them, and you've approached them twice and left a couple of comments. It's been a lot longer for me. I've been watching them, I've been approaching them, I've watched them block, I've watched them receive all the info and hide it and everything. Desperate attempts. I don't know what's going on, you know, like either Jay's seen a stream and he's got another channel name and he's come and he's truther and he wants to defend himself and learn and express what he knows, or he's a troll and he's trying to defend this whole situation, even to the point of trying to lure people into this different sort of crazy concave model. But where's it going? I mean, I know that me and you were like at the forefront of this thing, and he's either like dumb or a troll. He either knows we're right about stuff and he's fake.
He's got to know. I mean, well, that's why we have this conversation, is because by now he knows that, number one, there's a logical person presenting it. Number two, I was able to present enough information and raise enough questions that, I mean, he really has to concede that he's probably looking at the best model, and he really, if he's gonna have anything to do with researching the Earth, he should stop what he's doing and research the concave model first, because he's going to realize that concave Earth connects all the spherical Earth dots of heliocentricity and connects all the flat Earth, takes all the truths from the flat Earth, takes all the truth from the convex spherical Earth, and there you have it all in one. You know what I mean? It all works in there once you actually, if you actually like, you know, you binge watch some concave and earth information, go ahead and brainwash yourself, but you'll see that it all actually makes perfect sense in the model. You're looking at something that matches your observations. It matches the false dichotomy that flat versus helio is. It matches all the, you know, all the experiments that show concavity that are now being suppressed. It all makes sense, you know. It all makes sense. There's no downwards curve and the flat maps don't work. I mean, that's as simple as you can make it. And all the other experiments that are filmed and shown, they're all indicating the same exact thing. So it's really, the more concave earth information you look at, it really becomes more and more and more and more and more of a no-brainer. Literally, like it's like all the concavers, we're just like waiting for the rest of you, like, oh, what the fuck? The fuck? How many maps are you gonna go through before you realize you live inside a ball?
Yeah.
How many maps are you gonna fucking? Ugh.
That's what I've been wanting to say. That here, like you're on the clock now with him. You know you've presented all this stuff. You were trying to put to him that, like, mate, you've mentioned a dome. Well, we've figured out that, like, they've told us that this barrier's 100 kilometers up, and it is like everywhere, you know. So it's if it was,
that's how the fights happen.
If it was, it couldn't be a dome and all this stuff, and it's like, so he's put onto a chat. He's come to a stream about concave earth. I've made videos. He's already found my channels and contested this thing. He's already seen me call him out as a troll and come back. So months now later, he still hasn't looked into it. So now your ticking clock begins. You're going to be like, when's JayDreamerZ going to mention concave on his YouTube channel?
Right. Have you ever had a conversation with him like that, where you had a chance to present physical evidence that, like I did?
No.
So So I mean, it would be comparing apples and oranges a little bit, but I understand what you're talking about. You've probably you probably sent him links, you probably left comments and stuff, and you were probably blocked and all this other stuff. And so I get it, you know.
Yeah, I would.
What you're saying is so much time has elapsed since then that he should have, you know what I mean? But now, I mean, now it's different, because now he's actually had a conversation with a concave earther, and now he knows, okay, it's not as crazy as I thought.
I'm looking
at now. So now, if another chunk of time elapses, then that'll be more evidence to support your theory that he's a, you know, troll or a gatekeeper or whatever like that. So we expect that he should, you know, provide. We don't know what pace. You know, some people have families and they don't have as much time to research, so we have to consider that. You know, so
right.
You know how much time you give someone before you determine, all right, you're clearly avoiding this. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm looking at a lot of.
It was a long while for Zen Garcia, and then I was like, all right, fine. He's obviously ignoring. He's obviously not responding at all to this concave. He's not saying anything rude. He's acknowledging me, but he's not, like, he's obviously not addressing the concave earth at all, and he's not being rude or mean doing it. He's just avoiding it, and it's just telling, you know.
Yeah, exactly. I've approached Zen. I used to be friends with him on Facebook. They play dumb. They've got to play dumb. I don't know what you're talking about. Block you.
Yeah.
I'm looking at many boxes. I'm not just looking at. We've got someone, personality, truth or troll. Look at this.
I mean, I was living right there in Georgia. I was living like an hour away from him. You know what I mean? I was right in there in Georgia for a whole year. I was there, and I tried to reach out to him. You know, he did tell me where he went to church. I never ended up going there, but I mean, he didn't try to have a reciprocal relationship with me, which doesn't make any sense, because we both are studying the earth and the scriptures. So it doesn't make sense that he would avoid me.
Well, I went from being
it only makes sense that he would avoid me if the earth were concave.
I went from being a bit of a fan of his to just knowing that he's a gatekeeper, and you know, he might be talking about Jesus or Christianity, and he might be in a wheelchair, but I can see from what you're saying, and I know what I've seen and what's happened with me, that he's aware of this thing and he's gatekeeping it. You know, it's like, how dumb can you be? How like triggered and like stubborn and stuff can you be when you're having people warn you and bring all this stuff to you? You've got gatekeeping. But what I would try to say a minute ago,
it does appear like that. You know, I don't know. It's I don't know, man.
I'm looking at a lot.
I love you, Zen.
I'm looking at a lot of boxes with people. I'm not just looking at personality, the size of their channel, the content they're putting out, and their vote and how their votes changed every globe, flat, concave, something else, whatever. I'm taking into consideration loads of stuff to determine whether people look like suspect to be part of the network, to be part of something that's like where this person isn't just like on their own and they've just approached the internet, more like they're in a cult, a gang, an organisation, they've paid their agents, whatever. There's certain things that they have in common that links them, that gives them away. It might be topics that they're talking about, times that they bring things out, the way in which they conduct themselves and their channel. So, like Josh, you and I, you know that we're both genuine, and so we're open. We want to reach out to the public, and obviously some people, the trolls are against you, but then some of the truthers are against you because, like, say if we're Christians, then like more like satanic atheist, blood over intent ones will be against us or whatever. But you know what I'm saying?
Right. There's always going to be something that someone finds about you they don't like and uses it as a reason to dismiss everything else you're talking about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, not
So,
just that, but
so people might not, for example, people might not, like, for example, someone might not want to listen to you about the shape of the earth simply because of your religious beliefs. You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
yeah. All I'm saying is that no matter what, if trolls didn't exist, then there'll be people opposing you. But people they can't see trolls for truthers. So I've got genuine people and Christians that come attacking me, and I've got trolls coming and doing it in the disguise of certain different things. They don't all come with black sun symbolism and or a flat Earth channel name, and you know they're not all so obvious. Some will come with a proper name and just leave some. It's like at the end of the day, there's like been on YouTube ages. Why ain't you got a playlist? You know, put your email, give us your name, show face. If you come once, are you coming again? There's just patterns that the patterns might be different. There's loads of them, but people reek of being genuine after a while. Even though in your head you might have considered that they're a troll, because this thing's so deep of this fake network. Because what we're saying is that the whole mainstream's fake. And then what the truthers are wanting to do is pop into this little scene on the internet and say that there is no more fakes and that everybody's now welcome and not a fake. And there's just no trolls, there's no fakes. When we'd all agree that there's some trolls and some fakes. So where does it stop, and how do we define who isn't and stuff? So I've just said to Jay, what's your last name and stuff, and he's come out with some crazy tale. He's in fear or whatever, but it's just.
Well, he maybe he's had some bad experience. You know, maybe he's had some bad experiences. You know, I myself have had some. I can relate because I've received threats. You know, me and my family have been threatened before. So, you know, it is what it is. Maybe he doesn't want to give out his maybe he's just trying to
Yeah, but that
maybe he's still trying to present truth and still keep his family at the same time. And if all he has to do is not give out his last name to do that, then that's a compromise. That's a sacrifice he's willing to take so that he can A, keep his wife and child happy and supported, and B, still be able to present truth. If that's what he has to do to protect his family and still be able to speak his mind on the internet, then that's what he's doing.
I understand the principle of his
right.
excuse, but or his reason, if he's genuine and that's a reason. But
well, I chose not to, and now I don't have my, you know what I mean? So I can understand.
If you're a troll, Josh, and you're like sort of infiltrating me and what I'm doing, then you're like you're an awesome agent, and you've been hard to detect and stuff. But Jay is much more like, I'm pointing my finger out, like, look, we've got someone disingenuous, he's a troll, he's acting like it. If he's not a troll, he's really dumb, and he's caught up in his ego and the crap that he's looking into, and can't understand that the Earth's concave and how important it is. And he's way far off loads of stuff, so I'm doing it like him a favor.
I did seem to find it weird that when I did seem to find it weird that when I told him how simply profound it was, that if creation exists from this, if the Earth is concave and creation exists at the center, and that there's other life there, other forms of life that created us, or other forms of life that were created by the same creator as us, living in the center of the Earth, that's, regardless of religions or books or gods, that's hugely important to mankind. And he was like, yeah, that might be something I would look into, but I like looking into all kinds of other stuff too. And I'm like, splash of water. I'm like, do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Playing dumb. I mean, they're out there, so they're out there playing dumb. These trolls. Where do you draw the line? It's difficult. Difficult. I very rarely get to speak like you've just been doing about the implications, like, as a positive thing and spiritually and stuff. It's more, I've just got to get people's attention to it and call out all these fakes and stuff like. But I think people are starting to see the pattern now, and the attention's there. There's a couple of statements that's been made. People have got to realize the progression, and like everybody's seen JayDreamerZ just pop into this thing and hear it all. Where's it going? Is he gonna is he going to announce it anytime soon? You'd think he would, wouldn't you? You'd think if it was a genuine truther, then there'll be a mention coming right around the corner. Or I'll invite you on to talk or whatever, but I bet it won't happen. So I encourage everyone to like bombard JayDreamerZ with Concave stuff and see what happens, see if comments linger there, see if you get blocked. You'll need 2 channels to check on your comments and if they're staying there, because things look to go through and to be remaining, etc., from the channel that you comment from. But if you actually, sign out, look from a different channel, you might be being blocked, you might be being censored. I've been a truther for a long time, but when I came to Concave, the censoring started, and I know I've stepped on toes and we've got to truth. Trolls making videos about you and stuff.
Cool, man.
And they're playing this game with me and Josh, and anyone else who comes up and does it, where they'll want to ignore you for so long, but then they've like got to let you on. They've got to let you have your time to just, so you can't say, look, you're not including this, you're not letting it in, you're completely hiding it. So they let it on and just argue it and deny it. Claim that they're genuine. So we're literally up against like a big army of fakes that have got everyone duped in different models and areas and doctrines and everything. And I'm straight up genuine. You know what I'm saying? If there's anyone around me infiltrating that's a troll, then they're going under my radar. But as far as I'm concerned, like Josh is genuine, I'm genuine. The little crew that, well, you know how it is. I say these lot are all right. I'll call this one out as a troll, and we've got to do it. We can't be naive. Over to you, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I understand. It's a tough battle. It's a lot of little pains in the asses. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Trying to find real people in a world full of fake people, and in the weird part it is that this is the truth community, and nobody trusts each other. It's the weirdest thing in the world. It's true. Nobody has more distrust for his own family than a truther. It's weird because we understand deception, and the real truthers are so aware that there's so many liars that are so close to us, all around us, all the time. Everybody's like fake as shit, and so a real truther has so much fake around him that it sometimes it's like finding a needle in a haystack, just trying to find another genuine person, a real, like someone who really gets it, like it gives a shit, you know. So with that being said, I probably want to wrap this up so I can go to bed. It's getting late.
Cool, bro. Well, thanks for joining. It's been entertaining. We could hear, I think, you know, when I play this back, we could hear Jay, whatever his last name is, pretty well. I'm going to clip my argument with him and stick him up. But yeah, anyway, I'll speak to you soon, bro.
Yeah, it's cool. Give him credit for coming on and you know, and listen us. And he called me back too. I mean, he called me back because he wanted to. I told him he could call me if he wanted to know about the Earth, and he did. So
yeah, well, we've all got to do our bit. We're all free to play how we want, do our thing. We're on our mission. We can join the mission, whatever. But I'm on my mission. I treat people as they ought to be treated. I'm not tolerating everything, etc. It's my right to be like that, and it's their right to be like that. And we're at a war, bro. We're in a war.
Yeah. So, well, at least I mean, the fact that he hopped on your channel and then he called me, that already puts him way above all kinds of people who wouldn't even do that. So
yeah, I mean, you know, if it's a show to make himself look genuine and not a troll, it's doing it for him.
That's still better than ignoring us, because at least he's hearing us out, and you know, we're still getting the message out there. We're still able to present the message, and that's all that matters. That's the whole point, is just planting the seeds. We're still able to do that. So even if he were a troll and he's fake, it's still good that he hopped on, because it's still better, you know, because no matter what, the truth is going to show. People are always going to look at anything and be able to figure out the truth. So, you know, if he's fake, the real truthers are gonna end up knowing it, and if he's real, the real truthers are gonna end up knowing it. So it doesn't matter to me what the outcome ends up being. That's up to him. And so far, I mean, so far so good. So.
Well, everyone needs to wake up to who all the trolls are, and it's us against them kind of thing. So for me, it's like a massive big race that's going on. But he heard all that, right? It's the 31st of May 2019. So many of us now will be like waiting for the Concave announcement or mention or something from Jay. That's all I'm saying. But thanks for coming on, brother Josh.
Cool. You too, man. I'll see you next time.
All right. Speak soon, bro. Bye. Bye.